On January 31st, these hits are going back into the Disney Vault. Get them before they're gone. Also going away, Cinderella 2 and 3. Get them before they're gone.
These great classics on video and are going back into the Disney Vault.
Going back into the Disney Vault.
He's going back into the Disney Vault.
Before it's gone.
We all know the classic Disney Vault for VHSs, but what if I were to tell you that there's another, a hidden secret vault whose contents will never see the light of day, no matter how badly no matter how badly anybody else wants to see it. This is the fabled Disney Porn Vault.
Don't let your kids watch it!
There are a few anecdotes about this sacred land on the internet, with the biggest one being this Tumblr post reacting to a Twitter screenshot from Kaiser Neko. The tweet claims that Jeff Good, creator of American Dragon, was asked how he feels about people making spicy art about his characters. He responded by saying, "Oh, Disney sat me down and showed me a bunch of Kim Possible porn and said, this will happen to your show." Honestly, Rule 34 is among one of the better threats that Disney can give. If you haven't been on the internet long enough and are thinking to yourself, wait, Rule 34? What's that? And what are the other 33 rules? It means if it exists, someone out there has drawn a sexy version of it. And if you're still confused, let me put it this way for you. I once saw a very, very, very unnecessarily explicit piece of Rule 34 of the Disney logo. Anyway, this prompted a response from Tumblr user FayForge, explaining that Disney has way more than just some smut examples to show off at job interviews. They explained that they used to date an animator and would meet a lot of industry people. That included someone who used to work at Disney, and at his apartment, he, being the absolute mad lad that he is, brought out a couple foot-long stacks of printer paper to show off. They spent hours paging through, as they put it, a history of Disney animation. Porn edition. But how did this come to be? Well, apparently Disney has a policy in their contracts that states that anything an artist makes belongs to Disney, even in their free time at home. This is to steal good ideas from artists and to make sure that they spend as much time as possible working on Disney projects. However, Disney underestimated the pervy nature of artists. In what is a textbook example of malicious compliance, the artists started drawing, special drawings of the characters. Everything from tasteful nudes to the most erotic images you can think of. Ones I probably wouldn't even be able to describe without getting a bonk on the head from YouTube, considering this subject matter is already kind of pushing it. Because of this policy, Disney had to keep absolutely everything, and all of it in the respective animation style of the film or show. That makes them official Disney lewds. Every Disney artist knows about this holy vault, and these multiple stacks of photocopies were just a fraction of the whole thing. That's a summary of that story, but if you want to read the whole thing, I linked it down below. Okay, I know what you're thinking.
Let me in! Let me in!
But before we all collectively agree to raid this vault, we have to stop and ask ourselves, does it even exist? Of course, if it did, it wouldn't actually be some mega secured high quality vault where they just dump all these pictures in. That'd be insane. Which is exactly what they want us to think if it was actually just like that. Let's take a closer look at that part of the contract that was mentioned, the one where Disney owns everything an artist makes. That's called an invention assignment agreement. The interesting thing here is that this actually isn't a Disney specific policy. In fact, it's a standard one in not just the animation industry, but in any company where your job description is essentially to create. I found this 2012 Reddit AMA by Kurt Weldon, who worked at Disney on projects such as, okay, wow, second time Kim Possible has been brought up here. Really makes you think. This gives more insight into that policy. Weldon explains that people in this field often work between a few of the big studios. The "we own everything" clauses are put in place to prevent current and former employees from claiming that something they saw in a finished show or film was stolen from them. And when it comes to poaching on an artist's original idea for their own use, that's not something that's really enforced. So it's good to hear that at the very least, intellectual property is still respected. Disney really values that, you know, since they kind of lobbied Congress to extend intellectual property rights when the mouse himself didn't have much time left. Okay, so far, if Disney keeps whatever the artist makes that are related to their projects, this vault seems plausible. But why isn't there more info out there? Surely, after all these years, we have more solid pieces of evidence or other verified people that have talked about this, right? Unfortunately, that's not the case here. Maybe because it doesn't exist, or maybe because Disney has an absolute army of lawyers that hand out cease and desist like they're candy. At this point in my life, for me personally, it would be an absolute honor if I got a cease and desist from the mouse. I'd be able to cross that off my corporate bucket list. By the way, if they DMCA this video, well, that's kind of all the proof we need, right? But still though, for how long Disney Animation has been around, despite their army of lawyers, it's hard to believe that there hasn't been a single reputable leak of any of this stuff. Does that mean that Disney animators are pure angels who would never stoop so low so as to defile the sanctity of the Disney magic? Remember what I said about how artists basically have an all-access pass to horny jail? It's confirmed that old-timey animators would draw smut of their characters and stick them up on boards for all to see as a morale boost. Probably not when Walt Disney was still running things though. There's a story about Disney getting surprised at his birthday party with a short M-rated clip featuring Mickey and Minnie going at it. He laughed it off and complimented the animation quality, prompting him to ask who did it. The two animators gleefully raised their hands only for Disney to fire them on the spot. Sheesh, talk about being ungrateful. Disney himself was described as a Puritan with these kinds of things, so for this stuff to have happened, it had to have happened after he got put on ice. It's not just possible that artists drawing lewds is a tradition that's stuck, it's actually something that happens a lot in the animation industry. You have no idea the things I've seen doing research for this video. The fact that it's not just sexy drawings, but also crude stuff, trying to be edgy and pushing the line. That's how artists working on kids shows blow off steam. Don't look up the Rugrats one. I know you're gonna do it, but I still have to say it. Don't look up the Rugrats R-rated storyboard. But that's the thing. It's not a rare occurrence for animation artists to, in fact, draw spicy drawings of their characters. That's out there on the internet for absolutely anybody to see, for free. Hold on, before you tab out and go look that up, I'm gonna have to ask you to stay till the end of the video, please and thank you. So what does this all mean? Is the vault real or not? Maybe there's another angle here that we're not considering, where the contents of this vault would exist, but Disney just doesn't keep it. Because honestly, why would they? This is a company that strongly cares about its image and the idea of the Disney magic. I don't think they'd run that risk of leaking it out there, and there's zero risk of that if it's just simply destroyed. But you know what? I'm dedicated to finding out the truth. And I haven't heard back from my Freedom of Information Act request, so I'm glad to announce that this is gonna be my last ever video. That's right, I'm gonna completely derail my entire life. I'm quitting YouTube, quitting Twitch. I'm gonna learn how to animate and be the best there is, like no one ever was, and get hired at Disney and rise through the ranks of the animation industry just so I could find out the truth. But until then, what do you guys think? Is this real? And if it is real and it gets leaked, what are you hoping to see from it? Let me know down in the comments.